I don't think King Arthur could pull me out of these shoes.
This is my review of the New Balance More V5. Let's get right into it. Actually, before we get right into it, I'm gonna say that this review is gonna be a little shorter than normal just because I love this shoe so much and there's not much to be said about this shoe. So let's get right into it now. Starting out with the outsole, as always, we have an interesting pattern by New Balance. As you can see, the off-white or yellowish material is actually the midsole, and the black parts are the rubber traction pods. And I would say that they perform very well. I tested these in dry conditions on the road and they held up really well. I didn't feel any slippage, or I didn't feel that I needed a little bit more traction, so it performed very well for me. Now, if you're planning to use these on the trails or in wet conditions, I cannot speak on that because I haven't personally tested the shoe in those conditions. Moving on to the durability of the outsole, I would say with 25 miles in this shoe currently, I can't really see any wear. Now, I know 25 miles is not a lot of mileage for a shoe to start showing wear, but I've actually had a couple pairs of shoes that did show signs of wear, so I would say that it's a pretty good sign that the More V5 doesn't have any visible signs of wear. I see that the etchings on the black rubber traction pods are still there, which is always a good sign, and the outsole is pretty thick in my opinion, so I would say that these are gonna last quite a while, at least from the outsole point of view. Now, moving on to the part that actually gave this shoe its name, the More V5. Let's talk about the cushioning. So as you can see, we have this big boy of Fresh Foam X, and I'm not exactly sure what the stack height is from the heel to the toe, but it is a 4mm heel to toe drop, I believe, and I think that the heel is listed at 34 and it drops to 30, so same as last year's, but I'm just gonna talk about how the cushioning felt, honestly. Let me tell you, sometimes you put your foot into a shoe and you just feel like it's the one for you, or you feel like you haven't experienced anything like it before, and this is one of those shoes. Now, to preface this, I have run in the New Balance More V4s, and I actually have that shoe, and I'm gonna do a comparison between that shoe and this shoe, but this Fresh Foam X, they definitely did a refresh. I don't believe it's the same compound as last year's model, and it felt amazing. So typically with Max Cushion daily trainers, you're gonna wear these for a lot of easy miles. Personally, I don't like running super long runs in these types of shoes because they are typically kind of soft, but this new Fresh Foam X honestly is pretty versatile in my opinion. So I took these on slower runs as well as a little bit quicker runs. It performed better on the slower runs, but it still had a little bit of bounce when I wanted to go faster in the shoe. So something about this Fresh Foam X is actually pretty adaptive, I felt when I was running. So when I was running those slower miles, the cushioning felt so uber soft, like it was amazing. It felt so good on my joints and just my whole body in general. And then when I wanted to pick up the pace and I was putting a little bit more power through my strides, I felt that the foam did compress pretty quickly and it kind of gave me a little bit of spring. I don't want to say too much spring. It's definitely a more soft foam than a bouncy foam, but I was able to actually still pick up the pace and also have a little bit of ground feel still, which is interesting because of the max stack height of the shoe. Now keep in mind, I am 195 pounds, so that's just my experience in the shoe, and I was actually able to run a couple of sub 7-minute miles in this shoe particularly, and that's pretty unheard of usually in a Max Cushion shoe. So I would say that the versatility is pretty good. As for the stability of this cushioning setup, I did feel that I was well supported and stable on even my longer runs in the shoe. I did a 10-mile run and a 13.1-mile run, a half marathon in the shoe, and never did I feel unstable at any point due to the wider base. All right, last but not least, let's talk about the upper. So the upper is a pretty thick engineered mesh. It has a gusseted tongue as well as a pretty comfortable heel tab. So something that I really liked what New Balance did on this shoe was they put these, I kind of want to call them perforations. I'll show some B-roll of it, but it kind of sticks a little bit to your heel, not in a bad way, but kind of like those grippy socks that you used to wear in those trampoline parks. That's something that kind of just reminded me of that, but it's not actually sticky. It's just some holes that are perforated a little bit, and they hold the heel very well. Now I did still have to do a runner's loop to get that secure heel lockdown, but once I did the runner's loop, these shoes felt really good on my foot. Talking about the upper also, this shoe fits very true to size for me personally. I do have a little bit of a wider foot, but I got my true size and they fit phenomenally. If you have the Pegasus 41 or if you've ever tried the Pegasus 41, they fit very similar to those, which I absolutely love. So you could probably tell that I really love the fit of this New Balance More V5. It feels a little bit more snug in the toe box, which I personally like, but the width and the length are definitely true to size. Something to note on the ventilation side of things, the More V5 is not super breathable, I would say, just because it has that thick engineered mesh. You can still see some light peeking through the mesh upper when you do the light test, but I would say that my foot did get a little bit hot in the shoe. So overall, is the New Balance More V5 worth the asking price of $155? For me personally, I say hell yes. The stepping comfort alone, when I tried the shoe on, I knew we had a winner here. So kudos to New Balance for really upgrading the V4 to the V5. Again, I will do a comparison between the two. I did love the More V4, but this More V5 is just different. I think the foam compound that they use, I think they changed it. I'm not exactly sure. If someone can confirm that for me, that'd be awesome. But it does feel different in a good way, just giving that extra versatility of being able to push the pace. Typically, I'm an advocate for buying last year's model just at a discounted price, but this model, I believe, is worth the full $155 retail price, which I know is a lot of money, but if you ever tried these shoes on, you'll kind of feel why maybe that's priced at $155. So I would say that if you're looking for a max cushion shoe that has pretty good stability and you want something that's gonna protect your joints while you're running, or maybe you're just getting into running, I think that this shoe is gonna take care of you very well. As well as if you just wanna walk around, like I'm probably grabbing this shoe 9 times out of 10 if I'm feeling a little bit sore and I just wanna go for a walk or anything. These are super, super comfortable. As I said, very versatile, where it's softer when you're going slower and it kind of adapts when you start to pick up the pace. For $155, I would recommend this shoe. I think it's one of the best max cushion shoes. And honestly, I don't really want to test other max cushion shoes because I already love this one so much. I feel like this is the perfect one for me. So that's gonna pretty much wrap up my review of the New Balance More V5. As you all can tell, I really, really love this shoe and I have no problems recommending it to the masses because I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy the shoe. Even if it's not for running, I think this is the best walking shoe or standing shoe of maybe all time. So that's my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the New Balance More V5, as well as stay tuned for future reviews as well as vlogs and other types of videos. So I will catch you guys in the next one.